Welcome, Ms. Afaf.
Thank you, Ms. Shazia. Thank you for having me here. So I'm just going to get a presentation, and it's basically on this program that's called Prezi, and it's my secret to engaging presentations. As you can see here, Prezi, it's a web-based tool. So it creates interactive presentations that engage, inspire, and teach. Now, how Prezi works is that it uses a large canvas-based approach instead of a traditional slides one. So it gives you a big platform to work on, and then you can zoom in and out of different areas as I've been presenting right now. Now, why would you want to use Prezi instead of a traditional PowerPoint presentation? First of all, it's on the cloud. So it's online and you can access it anywhere that you need to. It's better suited to the digital age, especially these days when kids are mostly engaging with laptops and iPads. It works great on all of these platforms. And since we'll be teaching online as well, you won't be physically there to be as engaging as you would in a classroom or in a presentation setting at a workplace. Then you can always have these interactive presentations to be more engaging. It's more dynamic and captivating as well. So instead of a traditional slideshow, you can actually just go into different elements into it, bring in a lot of animations, bring in different videos and various elements that will actually make it quite dynamic. And of course, your audience gets a better presentation overview as well. So you can create different templates to see how you would want to present, and that will allow them to actually see what you would be presenting about overall. We'll walk through this a bit later on as well. So looking at how to sign up on Prezi. How you'll be signing up is you simply go on www.prezi.com and go on any web browser. I personally prefer Chrome because it works the smoothest, but you can choose to go on any of the ones that you're normally used to. And basically, to get started, when you click the website, this is the first page that shows up. And you can join as an educator, as a businessman or a woman, or just simply as a student. And you can see at the top right here, there's a blue box which says Get Started. All you need to do is click that. Once you click that, second pop-up would come up, and you just need to create an account here. So put in your first name, last name, email, and just set a password, and just making sure that you verify that you're 13 years or older to be using this platform. Next, it just welcomes you straight through, and you can decide which type of category you feel that you fit into, because it actually personalizes the type of templates that show up for you. If, for example, you're an educator, it'll give you different kind of lesson plans with different themes according to, for example, sciences, math, or English. But then as a student as well, you can have more dynamic presentations. And for business, it will be just varied completely because it'll be maybe based more on charts or just simply more on financials, for example, or business strategies. So the overall templates that would show up will just be completely different. However, you don't have to stick to one. You can always go back and search a different category if you wish to. So once you select a category, I just started with educator. As you can see, you pop up with a few templates here. So either you can start one from scratch. I'm happy to use a lot of the templates. There's a lot of variety, and that just helps you sort of get started and actually just be more dynamic because they're set up by professionals. And then it's quite easy to actually just duplicate one for yourself and start filling in the information you need. So as you can see, there's something here, for example, for a lesson plan. There's more like a whiteboard style sticky note if you had a sort of a themed lesson. There is a, let's say, a world map one for geography on the right here, and then there's one for science as well. And there's loads more. You just have to scroll through. There's like hundreds of templates that you can go through. And so basically, we can get started now by going through the user interface. I can show you how it works and how we can actually select different elements and see how it can all be set up. So I've just closed up my presentation now. So as you can see, that was my overview that I was presenting. And here's my user interface. So on the left, you have a panel of all the areas you're zooming into. So it's kind of like your slides. So you know which one will be coming next. So for example, I have how, the why, laptop screen pop up on the left here, and I can show you how you can add some of these elements. And at the top row here, you can see style. So when you click style, you can choose background, you can choose shapes, you can add colors, and you can also add text box, and you can change different sort of titles. You can even bold, italics, as whatever you need to, you can set them up. Next, you'd be inserting some elements. So for example, I might want to insert something from my library. So I want to upload any diagrams or any elements that I want, and I'll just choose something from my laptop here. Or I can add a story block. So if I just click through here, a story block is pretty much a dynamic element. So for example, this laptop screen that I just showed you. So if I show you this, it just kind of moves, as you can see how it would open. And that's how you get this sort of animation come through. We've got the timeline here, and you can explore different elements. So there's different themes. You can see sort of if you want to show a table format for any sort of information, a timeline, a goal, and you just click through any of these options. So for example, if I click process, you can see that there's different animated themes here, and you can just click any one of them and insert it to your program and see where you want to actually propose something and whatever elements you want to add on. And you can simply just go back and choose another format that you want to. Then on insert, we also have text box and images, icons, and then animations. So how animations work is how you would zoom in and out of an area. So I can set you up right now to try and show you, if I go down to my slide here, user interface, and let's say I want to insert a text box. So just insert something here and say, hello. And I want to fit it, for example, just above this text box here. Now it seems a bit big. I can just reduce the size, for example, from here. And that's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And then I want to, let's say, insert an image. So I'll go through, and you can see you can search some images here, which is something like Google, or you can actually just upload something from your computer. So I'm going to try to just upload one of these images from here, let's say, and use this mobile app. And I'll just reduce it slightly to fit into one of these boxes. So you can see it fits through here. Now, if, for example, there's something I want to talk about mobiles after talking about the user interface. So what I would do is insert an animation here. And how that works is you either fade in this image or fade it out as you're talking in the flow of your presentation, if that's what you feel you need, or you can zoom into the area. So for example, I can click zoom area and it will just click one area here. So I click zoom area and it shows me this pop-up blue box that I just drag and bring it down to actually where I want to show it. So it might be the entire zone here, for example. And I can center it with that image. And as you can see on the left, I've got a new slide here, which kind of shows that this would be my next slide after seeing this user interface. And so if I click on that now, there you go, you kind of zoom in here. And you can insert, let's say, some other elements here. So I can insert a shape. If I want to, let's say, create any sort of title here, or even just zoom in to a certain element. So let's say I'm going to put a circle box here. And I will insert another text box. You can say Prezi is available on mobiles. Here we go. Spell check there. And so I'm going to create a box here and move that down. As you can see, it's too big. I will reduce the size. And also drag my box so it fits into here. And I can choose to center it as well. So choose move the alignment. So there we go. There's a box here. So let's say I can move my image on the right so it fits a bit better. And I'd like my slides to actually show the full circle. So I want to make sure that my zoomed in area box is large enough to show everything that I would want to see on my screen. So if I want to get it nicely centered with the right areas around, you can see. And then on the left here, you can actually see a little preview of what you would see on your presentation. So that's how you would basically set up one of the elements. And you can zoom out or zoom in into any of these areas. So if I zoom out of my presentation now, that's a little box on a very large platform. And that's on the ceiling of the building there. And then I have various different elements. So I've got a little cloud box here, for example, and I can just zoom in using mouse area. And I want to add this now as my next slide. So I'll just click on this and I'll right click and say add animation. And I can just do simply zoom to, which means it directly selects that element and it just zooms to that area. So as you can see on the left, this cloud box has sort of straightened out as well. So there we go. And then we can do something similar here and simply, let's say I want to add a chart, an audio or PDF, draw some line markers, and you can also import some PowerPoints. So I'll try to import an image now, for example, from my library. So you can get started here, or you can simply just upload something via your computer. So let's see, image, upload an image. And I'll just go through here. I'll upload that diagram. Now, as you can see, this diagram is very detailed, and on a small slide, you'll already be able to see all those details. So all you can do is, let's see, center it in here. So you give an overview that once you zoom into this cloud, we'll be talking about us infographics. Then we can zoom in slightly further onto your presentation, and you can start to see the different elements here that you want to show. So let's say you first of all want to talk about the top floor here. So I can add an animation to say zoom to a specific area. So I've added a box here, and I can just move this box to be more focused on this region because that's the first step that I want to show. So I can zoom in slightly, and there we go. So now you can see on the left here, simply my next slide after this seeing the big cloud would be zooming into this area here. And you can continue to add on different elements. So you can zoom in, let's say if you want to show some of the more detailed information, for example, this information here on the left, you can simply add another zoom area box. And there we go. Just add some information. And then you can see it just pops up on the left, every area you want to zoom in, zoom in. Just making sure your image quality is actually good enough to be able to view it at high level when you zoom it in. So just make sure it's an image or just scanned really well. So now you can see I've zoomed out. So if you want to show any sort of diagrams or charts to your classroom or for a business presentation, you'd be able to just simply create several different elements and of zooming in and out to actually see different aspects of the entire presentation. So now if I zoom out, as you can see, this is simply a template that I've used of the Earth. And there's different elements that came with this template. So there's different letters. So I've used some of the letters that say the W to say Y, or the P to represent Prezi. So, and you can just choose to move them around. For example, if something doesn't work for you, you can move this letter and you feel that you could put it together. So for example, towards the end of the presentation, I wanted to have a Q&A. So I moved these two letters right next to each other and added a little text box in the middle to say Q&A. And this way you can just be quite dynamic and quite easily see all the different elements that come onto the space. And if you would like to share this presentation with anyone, you can simply do so at the top here. You can also choose to collaborate with a team. So you can see that there's an option to collaborate. You just need to add the emails of anyone you want to collaborate with. Nobody has to download anything. They simply just have to sign up to the website and go on any web browser, and they'll be able to start up Prezi. You can also share Prezi as a video, and you can share it as a live presentation as well. So you can have your own video pop up onto the background of your image while you're also presenting. There's different elements to all of these things, but as you can see, they are mostly set up so that your presentation overview is on the top left here, and then all your zoomed in areas show on the right here as well. So as I scroll through, that's all of my presentation. And then you can add different elements through here as well. So for example, if I want to show the overview again towards the middle of my slideshow, so let's say I want to do it right after this laptop screen. I can simply go back to presenting, or I can zoom out. So I zoom out of my large scale image, and I'll just click insert animation, and you want to simply zoom out to the overview. So I'll click this zoom out button, and that's what it says. Oh, okay, you can see zoom out to overview. And basically, as you can see, after this laptop slide, I've got zoom out to overview. So let's test that now. So you can see we've got this slide first, and then you go back to the main session, and you simply get that zoomed out overview, as you can see on the left. So this is basically the user interface, and I can show you some elements here as well on my dashboard, which shows where all the different templates are and how you can select different ones. So let's see, it's just load. You can see here you've got your left, you can create Prezi with videos, you can design your own, and you can simply go into presentation mode as well. So I've got two presentations here set up, and you can search different presentations by different owners, because all your presentations will be online and free for everyone to see. Or if you want to just create a new one, you can just simply press here and let's say you want to create a new presentation. So once you want to create a new presentation, you can see there's lots of different themes, or you can just go for a blank white or dark one. So let's see here. There's lots of different templates. So as you can see on the left, as I was saying, you can use, we have for education. So you have different themes here. Like you have something for marketing, for sales and business in general, you know, HR training. So there's different elements you can choose, or if you just want to filter by color. So let's say I want something that's in a blue theme. So some of the blue theme show up. So it's just loading here, but you can start to see that's got a blue theme, this one as well, and a few more of the video templates at the bottom as well. So that's your general overview. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask now, and I can walk you through some more elements.
Afaf, would you like to continue with the presentation? You do still have time. I can see on the timer, you have time like 6 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, if you don't have any questions just now, I can show you some more elements of what you can actually do on this workshop here. So I'm going to insert some icons, for example. So I'll go through back to my slide here, which is with the mobile app. And I want to add another slide on the right, for example. So that would be the next thing I would want to show after my user interface with the mobile. So I'll just zoom out and slide here. So I can show some elements like icons. So search some icons here. And you can see we've got a few recommended ones here. But let's say I want to write something about presenting mode. So if I just search something, it's where the relevant ones that come up. There we go. So you see a few of these options here. And I would, let's say, click this option. And it's just loading on my slide. going down. And this is about presenting. So now what I want to do is add an animation to make sure I don't lose the slide. I'm going to add a piece here to say zoom area. So if I click this here now, I can click the zoom area and I'll just go into that second slide. And there we go. You see it here on the left that this would be my next slide. So I'm just going to zoom through here. And I can try to recenter it. Here we go. And then insert. Let's say I want to insert arrows to say that this will be my presentation mode. So I'm going to exit the animation, press insert arrow. And let's say I want to add one here. So as you can see, you can also change the colors from the top, so you can choose different elements. So let's say I go for green here, and you can change the thickness of the arrows. So you can just simply move it around as you wish. So I'm going to insert a text box again to just say, let's say, Prezi and present online anywhere. So you can simply expand this so it gets a bit better. And that's going to cut this right there. So you can start to see a lot of it show up here on the left as well, but this would be the next element. And let's say I want to add a few more detail. So I'm going to say insert of, let's say, a video. So I can add some YouTube videos as well. As you can see, I can add something from the library. So I can try and search something about Prezi YouTube. So let's say that's the one I want to look through. And I can just catch that link from the top and insert it here. So I'm just going to click that here and insert. So it's just loading through here. And you can see actually it's popped up on a different location. So I'm going to zoom out of my slideshow and try to move this to.
Excuse me, Afaf, can you speak up a bit? I think
Yes.
your voice is lagging just a little.
Okay.
So just
Can you
speak
hear me
up.
now? Perfect.
Yes, slightly.
Okay. Great. So as you can see, I'm just trying to go back to my initial slide and I want to move this out to the right location. So you can see a few of these elements here. Move that YouTube video out to the right. Okay. So just give it some time. So it also depends on your speed and how well you can actually move around this platform. So if it's actually quite slow for you, then you might be lagging slightly. However, you should be okay if you just have some smooth Wi-Fi for work, for example, or just at home. So there we go, there's my YouTube video. And come back to my slide that I wanted to show. I'm just going to shrink it down and place it just underneath my arrow. And I'm going to move this slide from the left, as you can see, a bit higher to where I need it to be. So I need it to come just after that arrow slide. So place it just here. And as you can see, it's slightly upside down. So I'm just going to shrink it so that actually comes through nice enough. So I'm going to put it in the corner here, so that the first slide you see is here. And then what's interesting and down there, it will just rotate as you need it to as well. And then you can simply place this video, and when you're in presentation mode, you can play it then. So I'm going to zoom out and show you one more tool.
Excuse me, Afaf, you have
Yes.
5 minutes left. Thank you.
Sure thing, thank you. So I'm going to zoom out of this area, and just go through back to the main presentation. And I just want to show you how I actually ended up not just on the letters, but also on one of the building ceilings. As you can see here on the roof of this building, there is an empty square. So I feel like I can use this as a slideshow for my presentation. So I'm just gonna zoom in as much as I want and then just insert an animation. And I want to zoom to this area. So it kind of acts like a background slide for you. So as you can see on the left here, you can zoom straight into this area. So you can insert, let's say I want to insert a different icon or story block, try story block. I'll just try some info link. So let's see, one of these ones, for example, or even a letter. So I just inserted one of these story blocks. Now, one else here, I just want that you're looking at the slide icon order. So first of all, I want to click my presentation slide. So it's this area that I need it to be at. So I've moved it to this spot. And then I'm just going to insert this storyline here. There we go. So that brings you back to another place. Just to make sure that you can just simply drag and drop anything that you need to in the right location. You just go to this area and you see that's actually moved out to a different zone. So you should be able to just catch it again and move it over. And then also on the left-hand side, you can move that slide, which has come to the bottom because it's a new element, just like start to move it higher to where you wanted it to show. So for example, if I wanted to show straight after that YouTube video, I'll just click and move it here. And then as you can see inside this template of the story block, there's actually different elements that I can simply use. Let's see, so I can click through that. It automatically has some elements like click to edit text and different things here. So you can just add your own titles and anything you need to in here. So you can insert your own image on the bottom left photos and you can just click to edit the text. So if you try to just change the image here, let's say I want to add this laptop one. So it just starts to insert this and it simply crops into the right template format as well. So as you can see on the left here, and we just want to say letter template. You can just write that here. And you can just say discussion. Great. So that's it. And go back to my slide, Q&A, and you just need to click presentation mode on the top here. So you click present. And just to make it full screen, as you can see on the bottom right here, there's two arrows. You just click that, and I'll go into full screen. So thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.
Thank you, Afaf. That was a great presentation, very technical and very informative. So we'll take your questions now, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions, please direct them to Ms. Afaf.